All right, welcome along. This is Bosh's Ableton Beginner Bits, and today we're going to look at Bassline. Now, I'm going to cover a few things. I've actually written some stuff down for this one, which is rare because I don't plan these videos. But we are going to cover the best place to put your bassline on the scale on the keyboard, and picking the key when you don't have any existing chords. So if you're writing the bassline first, basically, we're going to cover the best sort of ways to do it and the best places to do that on the keyboard, and then finding the key with chords. So when you've got some chords and you want to write a bass line for them, we're going to do how to figure out the key. And then something I do to work out my bass lines when I've got chords is playing them at a higher octave and then recording it and then pitching it down so I can hear it more musically what's going on. So I'm going to get straight into it, and we're going to start without chords and just where the best place to position your bass line on the keyboard. So let's get into it. Now I've got a 1-drop loop here, 135 BPM. Yeah, pretty simple loop. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the best place to put your bass line in the musical scale for it to be the most effective. Now, I find, let's just go to the sub and let's draw. I'm just going to make a 2-bar thing here, and I'm going to loop it as well. So we're just going to work in this 2 bars for now. And I want you to have a look at this scale here. So you've got different notes on the keyboard and you've got different octaves. Now, an octave is one set of notes that starts and ends at the same note, but this note is the lower one and this one's the higher one, and then in between it's all the notes, and then the next octave is the next one of those. So, for example, you've got the note C on a keyboard, and then the octave up from C is the next C. I may try and put some graphics up on here as well. So that's an octave, and real disco thing there. That's an octave, and then you're going to kind of work in one of these octaves. You can go out of it. This isn't like a set thing, but you need to find the best octave for bass. So what I like to do firstly is find out where roughly my bass frequencies start. Right, that's too low. You can hear already that's way too low. So we need to be higher than that. Now, around here is where it starts sounding a bit more like a note rather than just this low grumbly sound. That's too low. So this octave from C0 to C1, this is where you start to feel your sub bass. Now, anything E and lower is a little bit too low if you ask me, especially if you're doing reggae. If you're doing dub and dubstep, you can get a bit lower in the sub frequencies. But if you're making more authentic reggae sounds, you want to be going a little bit higher up. So I would recommend the octave from F to F. There we go. If you're wearing headphones or you've got monitors on, you'll be able to hear this. That's as low as I would be willing to go, and that's F. I'm not going to go any lower than that because even a really big subwoofer is going to have problems making anything lower than that sound good and sound like a solid bass note. So I would concentrate on working between F and F. Now let's put my buzz back in. Now what I want to do here is lower my buzz by an octave and see how that sounds. I'm using the electric plugin here. And I'm just going to lower the semitones by 12. There we go. So we're just starting to lose the cohesive sound at around F there. But that sub is doing the sub bass work there. So that's where you want to keep it within those notes. F0 and F1 is where I would put my bass line. Now, if you're going to start writing a bass line without any chords or anything, the world really is your oyster. You can start anywhere. Now, if you're doing more of a reggae vibe, like a more traditional, authentic reggae vibe, I'd kind of stay between A and F, because that's where your bass notes are really going to hit on a normal speaker. If you start going lower than A, you're going to lose it on a normal speaker completely. Reggae stuff, I'd go between A and F. If you're doing dub and dubstep, I would venture a little bit lower into those. Now that buzz, I'm going to put it back up an octave because that is too low, that, to be fair. Yeah, that's better. So the sub's still hitting low, but the higher part of that bass note is a bit more audible and just sounds a bit like a proper instrument rather than being really grunty and low. We're writing a bass line. Let's listen. Now, when the drums are this slow, this speed like 130, 135, a bit more of a dub tempo, you have space and time to play with. So you don't need to be doing like a crazy bass line all over the place. It's slow, it's steady. So take your time, leave gaps. And if as you're looping this round, I personally would just do single note hits, maybe every other beat of the bar, something like this. So leave gaps. You don't need to be filling every part of that bass line. You don't need to be filling every single beat, because there's other parts in reggae, there's other elements that do that job, that fill that gap. So let's try again. Let's just go around, and I'm going to stay, for ease of use, I'm going to stay in A minor, which is the same as C major, which means we're using all the white keys. No black keys to worry about at the moment. And just play around with it, but leave gaps at first. Don't try and write a full constant bass line all the way through. It'll get too much. So I'm just going to jam. Yeah. Now, when you've got no chords or anything to work to, you can do anything. There's no limits to what you can do, and it'll sound all right. The only thing that makes it sound a certain way is the gaps between the notes. So in this scale, in A minor, stuff's going to sound a little bit more on the sadder side of things, a bit more melancholy sounding. Yeah, it's almost a bit of a medieval kind of sound, that A minor scale. But let me just show you now. If I play C major, which is all the white notes again, but starting at a different point, we get a happier sound. Yeah, it's a bit more happy, a bit cheery. A minor. Yeah, not quite as happy. So one more time. I'm going to play this and I'm going to jam, but I'm going to leave gaps in it. Yeah, so that's one way. When you've got no chords to work with or anything like that, you're completely free to write your bass line how you want. I would just play notes but leave steady gaps, because I think what a lot of people try and do is fill up all this space, and then your bass line just becomes a bit manic, and you're trying to fill gaps where you don't really need to. There's a lot of space in this music, and equally, that space has a lot of things that can fill it. So if you leave gaps in your bass line, you're going to have more space for other elements to fill that sonic space. So that is composing a bass line without any chords. And now what we're going to do is look at a set of chords that I've got here. Let me expand this out a little bit now. I hope that were a decent explanation. I always feel like I kind of go off and waffle a bit and lose track of where I'm going with these because, yeah, my attention's just terrible. So the next thing we're going to do, we've got these chords. Let's open one of these chords and let's just have a listen to them as well. Bear in mind, this is a channel for beginners. I'm going to show you the easiest way to figure out what the scale of these chords is. And it's not using any theory or anything like that. We're going to use a website. So let's have a look here. The first ones we've got A sharp, C sharp, and F. So I've loaded up here this website, scales-chords.com, and we're on the scale finder. So again, what notes have we got? We've got A sharp, we've got C sharp, and we got F. A sharp, C sharp, F. So we're just literally going to put these in. A sharp, C sharp, F. And then what are the ones in our other chords? This one is G sharp, C, D sharp. G sharp, C, and D sharp. All right, let's find a scale. All right, so we've got all these different options here. Now, if I just play notes along with these chords, almost. So I know that these so it seems to me that pressing that A sharp or B flat, depending on how you want to look at it, that seems to be the note that fits the most. So I'm going to guess that it's an A sharp or a B flat something. And we've got B flat natural minor or A sharp natural minor. Now this is the like sets of notes in these. Now what I'm going to do, these are all the same, but some are labelled as flats and some are labelled as sharps. I'll quickly explain this. A flat and a sharp are the same thing, but you say it's flat if you're going down from that note, and you say it's sharp if you're going up from that note. So if I'm going to that note there, I'm going up from A, so it's A sharp, or I'm going down from B, so it's B flat. So it's A sharp or B flat. Now, something else I should probably mention is when people are writing music, that one of the main rules is that you either write in sharps or you write in flats. If you're wondering why has someone said it's A sharp natural minor instead of B flat natural minor, it'll be because the sharps serve some kind of function for them. So if I've got a C here, another thing, see this is where my explanations sort of jump all over the place. Another rule in writing scales is that you should really have one of every note in there. You wouldn't label this. You wouldn't label that as C and then E flat because you've got no D in your scale. So that would be labeled as C, D sharp instead of E flat. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, we move on. So because this B flat or A sharp sounds right, we're going to have a go at playing these two scales over the top of the chords. And what I would do usually is work through each one of these and try and figure out which one it is. Let's do B flat natural minor and let's see if it fits. We're going to play this. And then I'm going to just play these notes. Yeah, that fits. Now, that fits, so I'm going to use that one. I'm going to think of it as B flat, just because that it jumps to me more as B flat instead of A sharp. So I'm going to say we're going to use B flat natural minor. Now, a way you could check that you've got this right would be to do the exact same thing again, put the music on, and play a different scale and see if it fits as well. So I'm going to go here. Oh, what's happened? Let's try C sharp major and see how that fits. Now E sharp is going to be F. And this is where, let me stop this. This is where it's important to remember about what I said about having one of every note in the scale. They've had to write E sharp because the note's actually F, but they've also got an F sharp in there. So you can't have two of them. So you need to use the E letter, but it's not E, it's E sharp, which is F. It's just F. So let's play this scale again. Start that. Page up. Here we go. C sharp major. C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, F sharp. Right, so I want to point something out there. So I was playing this C sharp major, which in theory is again the same as B flat minor, B flat natural minor. It's the same scale, but the start point C sharp. Now, did you notice how it didn't quite sound resolved when I stopped on that C sharp? When I dropped back down to the B flat, it sounded finished. So let's do that again. I'm going to play in C sharp major. And now I'm going to resolve. It still wants to go down to there. That sounds like it's going home. So B flat natural minor is the one I'm going to stick with. It's pulling down. It's a weird thing to kind of explain, but the music kind of wants to go back down and finish there. So I think that's the root, and that's where we're going to start our bass line with these chords. Next, playing at a higher octave. So next, what I want to do is make a bass line. But I always find it's easier to figure out, especially if you're dealing with only a sine wave and a sub, it's easier to work in a higher octave first and then drag it all down once you've made the bass line. So let's have a go at that. I'm going to delete this. Yep, so I'm going to work in this octave. I'm going to play it. I'm just going to jam again, but I'm going to record something. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to record that in. Right, next one. I think that might be the one. I'm going to do one more though. That's not bad. Alright, let's leave it there. So firstly, I like these two. the second and third ones I did there. Well, third and fourth technically, but the second and third ones I did. So I'm going to keep those, move them over to the start of the track. Now I need to tighten these up because these notes are not playing. That note's not playing because the start of the note is not where it should be. It's too far past the bar. If you notice there, you can't see the start of it there. Let's zoom right in. Zoom right in here. Look, you can see it's not hitting the start of the note. So let's just move that over. That's at the start now. All right, let's use this first one. Control and J to separate. No, Control and E to separate. Control and J is to consolidate. Let's undo that. So I'm going to highlight that, Control and E. I always thought Control and E. Yeah, Control and E does split. What am I on? Right. Yeah, Control and E to split. Copy. Let's move that down to there. Duplicate. Copy. So they're the same. But we need to sort this note out. There we go. Copy it again. And now all you've got to do is take both those and drop them down till they hit the right octave. So let's solo the sub. This is going to be our sub bass, so we want to hold shift and press down. We're getting there, press shift and down again. That's the bass. Now let's do the same with the other one. Drop it down again, shift and down. Shift and down again. I think that's where it needs to be. So it's this. So we click on one, click on the next one, shift, click, Control D, D, D. Yeah, let's have a listen with the whole thing. That one's late. Yeah, and that's it. Now from here, I'm going to delete them. Actually, no, I'm not. First thing I'm going to do, I've put in a different like mid bass sound here. I've put more of a pluck in. So this is the buzz. Let's drag this up to the next octave. Copy, copy, copy. And let's mute the buzz and then this guitar one. Now I've just noticed this erroneous little note here. There. Delete that. Now let's listen. Yeah, cool. So let's delete all these and let's do another one. Let's put it back to the buzz, so I prefer that. right, let's do another one. Same thing I'm going to do, just pitch it up. High. And then I'm going to start recording. Now remembering the scale we're in. Oh, that's all right. So let's use that. Drag it to the start, duplicate it. Now I'm just going to make sure this note starts in the right place. Duplicate that. Copy, duplicate again. Okay, now pitch it down. Another way you could do this is highlight both of these. And now you can see you've got two lines here at the top there. That represents that you've got two clips selected. So I'm going to select everything. Shift and down. Shift and down again. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's how I go about writing my bass lines. I do it slightly different. I guess for a steppers tune, I would make it more like militant on the... Oh, God, am I losing my... Here we go. I'd make it more on the beat, like one note every beat. So let's quickly do a steppers one. Now, the only thing I want to do... I ain't got a kick, have I? It's all right, we ain't got a kick, but let's just make a quick steppers bass line. So I'd go more like... Something like that. Let's record. Yeah. Same theory. Select it all. Then duplicate it. So that's how I do more of a steppers bass line. I didn't put kick drums in there, so you can't really hear the full vibe of it, but that's what I do. Quick run, like recap over what we've done. Where to position your bass line. For dub and dubstep, I would keep it between maybe F and C. If you're doing more reggae and dub, I would do it between like A and F. That's just my preference. These aren't set rules. This is just things that I have decided make sense in my head. Picking the key when you don't have chords. Again, this is a beginner's channel, so what I've done is gone to Scales and Chords, scales-chords.com. They've got all sorts of different things, chord tools, scale tools. If you know something about the music you're playing, whether it's the key or the chords or the notes in the chords, if you know one part of it, you can input that information here and then start working out where you should be playing on your keyboard. So that picking the key when you don't have chords and finding the key with chords, that kind of covers that. And then playing at a higher octave so you can hear the bass a bit more and then dropping it down. That kind of applies a little bit more when you're just playing with subs, like sub bass, if you haven't got a higher sound. Now, because we had that buzzy like clavinet sound in there, we didn't need to do that octave thing as much, but it's something that I find helps, especially if you're trying to figure out and still trying to figure out your bass line and which notes fit. I find playing it in a higher octave first helps and then drop it down. But I think I'm going to leave it there. I hope I've covered everything. I hope that makes sense. The last thing I want you guys to do, if you've enjoyed this video, is subscribe, comment, and share. That's all I want anyone to do because it really, really helps. And my name's Bosh. This has been Bosh's Ableton Beginner Bits Bassline Lesson, and I will see you next time. Ciao.